You know, a lot of the tech companies get the culture thing where, you know, bankers and mortgage companies and real estate companies have been around a long time. We don't, there's just a, you know, it's just not, because a lot of the startups had to do something different, right, to make the culture great because of the competition of all the different companies out there. What have you know, I wanted to talk to you about this because I know you've seen good and the bad. Right?
Yeah, I've seen a couple different cultures. And I think the key denominator between them that's common is the transparency, right? Okay. So if you think about like getting in a car with someone, like I don't particularly care to sit in the back seat where I'm not in control of the car, right? I'd rather actually have my hands on the wheel and be in control of the car. And I think you can make that analogy around like a workplace. Okay. Which was, are the leaders really transparent and actually letting all of the, here's what we're really facing, right? So what normally happens is like leaders just tell you what they want to tell you and they only tell you the good stories and not the bad stories. And then like the real confidential discussions are not shared with the employees. They can't handle the truth, right? Right. Like, and there's a movie for that, right? You know, you can't handle the truth, right? Right. The reality is that when you're actually overly transparent and you share more than you probably should, the employees actually trust you.
Got it. Yeah.
Like, here's where we really are. Some of it's good. Some of it's scary. You know, we don't know if some of this is going to work out, but here's why we're doing it. And by the way, you actually can be participative in the process. Right. Like that overly transparency where you actually think you're sharing way too much. Inside of the good cultures that I've seen, like things shared by the CEO all the way down that should not be shared in a public setting inside a company. And basically saying, I'm going to tell you more than you should know. And I'm going to trust that you're actually going to be not share this outside of the company. Right. I've now empowered you with the same stuff that I have. We're
Maybe
all
you
in
can
this
be
together,
part of the solution.
right? Yeah. And so in that, the employees feel like, okay, I'm not sitting in the back seat blindfolded with no idea where the car's going. Like I actually have some say in this. Right. And
it helps you to understand why the car took a huge detour. Because you now know the reasons besides just going like, what the hell just happened?
Why the hell are we driving in this field over here? I thought we were going over there, right? Yeah, because we changed directions.
And then you don't trust, right? There's the lack of trust like you were talking about.
So it builds trust and it builds respect. And therefore you get like really dedicated employees who are willing to, you know, chip in, put the extra effort, actually look after the customers and like buy into the vision. Right. Like, be part of it instead of just...
What if you have the employee that's like really talented and great, but they're just toxic and, you know, just every day it's like cringe, right?
This is a hard one, right? Because normally like that story normally starts with, he's my best salesperson who puts up the biggest numbers, right? Right. And if I make that difficult decision, then like I lose all of this revenue because my, you know, superstar, you know, brings home the bacon is not going to be part of the company anymore. Right. It's my personal opinion that the faster you cut that person out, the better off you'll be. Wow. Because while you might take that short-term hit to that, you know, whatever that person's contributing, what you don't realize is all of the other negativity and other people in the corporation that are being held back, or that are gossiping in the hallways, or like going,
all the time that's wasted.
Just the cycles are not worth it. Yeah. And so if you're hesitating, the answer is, you know, are you being true to your culture? Like by keeping that person, are you actually being ethical and fulfilling your company's mission to like your end customers? Probably not.
I used to think like, don't burn the lifeboats, right? Like you want to get this, you don't want to cut this person unless you already have something like ready to go, right? And then, because if you don't, there'd be all this disruption, it's gonna be chaos. But what I've found too is that, if you cut that person or you get rid of that, even if there's not a lifeboat, like you will, it's just better, right? Because you're going to burn if, you know, and crash if you don't. But I mean, I think that's good. What are tech companies doing right now to build culture? I mean, I know it's not just like I think Gary Vee says, like, it's not just a snack shop, you know, having good snacks in your office. Like there's other things like talking.
Granola bars doesn't fix it.
Right. What have you seen? And I know you're in Silicon Valley, right? Like a lot of your time spent up there. What are you seeing in companies today that is helping build the culture that we're talking about?
Actually, very much transparency around goals, right?
Talking about goals,
setting individual goals for individual employees from the top all the way down, right? So even though, you know, I run a division for the company right now, like I have weekly accountable goals and I actually have to enter in my goals once a week. And like sometimes I think, oh, this is a pain in the butt and I don't want to be doing this.
So they're asking you to create goals.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, like,
and so
CEO has goals.
employees.
I have goals.
Yeah.
All my direct reports have goals, but
really
we have
good.
like a regular checkup of like how are we doing against those goals. So from the lowest employee to the top of the food chain, like everybody's got goals all the way through the whole thing.
I like
and
that.
we're on them and we're revisiting them, and frankly, we're readjusting them quite frequently.
Nice.
Right.
That's really good. I'm gonna do that. That's
but
really
the greatest part about this is like it starts off amazing, like you get all this alignment, and then like we get busy. And then a month and a half in, you're like, oh, I got a meeting and I can't do my goals, and like,
Right. Yeah.
And so
when I have big goals, I got the BHAG and
Yeah.
goals, daily goals, things I write up on my board and things like that. But I do like that, empowering others and getting them to give you their goals, make them accountable too. I mean, tell them your goals and then have them tell you their goals. Because I think they say I think it's the Bible that says without a purpose, the people perish, right? Like, if they don't
Yeah.
feel like they've got something they're working
Yeah.
towards, they're not going to be thriving. So if someone has something and you pull that out of them and tell them, tell me your goals. Like, I want to know, and I'm interested, and I care about you and what you're doing with, your day to day. And just to our listeners, tell us what your goals are. I'd love to hear it. And because that's really cool. That's a way to grow and to improve the culture.
I learned this in a